When you have anxiety-like symptoms, like a racing heart, sweaty palms, sick stomach, you may go to the doctor and the doctor will prescribe you some medication, and that may help somewhat, but it doesn't fully help you with your anxiety. Or you may go to a therapist and they will do some type of talk therapy or CBT, and again, it will help you somewhat, but you notice you're still living with anxiety. It's just both those things have managed it in some sort of way, but you still aren't fully satisfied. The reason why that is because doctor focuses on dealing with the symptoms of your anxiety. Therapy focuses on talk therapy and the mind, the thoughts of your anxiety, but neither of them actually get to the root of your anxiety, which is how anxiety is deeply stored in your nervous system. So those two fixes are temporary fixes and they help manage it, but it doesn't help heal the deep core wound of anxiety. Anxiety is normal, but when you have generalized anxiety or phobias or social anxiety or panic attacks, that is not normal. And you should not have to live that way. But what if I told you there were things you could do to heal your anxiety? And healing doesn't mean it gets rid of it forever and like you never will deal with anxiety. It means that it will not be the center of your life, and you may have random spurts of anxiety, but it won't be as deep of an issue because you're actually getting to the core. I share much more about how to heal and get to the root of your anxiety in my book, which you can check out right here on my Patreon or on Etsy. But today I wanted to share a practice I do, and I wanted to share a little bit of a backstory. I have suffered with anxiety since I can remember, maybe 5 or 6. I had a very traumatic childhood that caused my nervous system to be on a constant high alert. And me being on a constant high alert eventually led me to have a dysregulated nervous system and cause a chronic illness. And this is common. A lot of people that have suffered with anxiety as a child deal with a lot of physical symptoms, and they do have chronic illnesses, or they just have chronic symptoms that make them not feel good. Studies have shown brains of people that have anxiety or trauma in childhood are more likely to have an enhanced survival instinct part of their brain versus their cognitive part of their brain is more shrunk, which means there's more room for your brain to focus on danger and threats and to be in a hyper alert state. So what happens when you have generalized anxiety, or just everything feels dangerous, or you're just a nervous person, what happens is something in your life triggers anxiety to come out. It could be a multitude of events or just one singular thing. It just causes you to see the world differently. It becomes more scary. And then your brain starts to scan for danger. It becomes a survival mechanism to constantly scan for danger, because you've noticed when you watched out for danger in the past, it kept you what felt was safe. And so now there's a constant state of you looking for danger and looking for worst case scenarios. So what happens is that your then starts to filter and just have more of those anxious thoughts. Those are the thoughts that are more likely to come for people that have anxiety. The more you entertain certain thoughts, the more those will strengthen neural pathways in your mind. So the more we think and entertain something, the more likely those thoughts are to come, and the more we will believe these thoughts. It's a constant cycle of there's a lack of safety and your nervous system is on high alert, so it's sending messages to your body to try to protect you, and then your brain is also constantly seeking out that danger, so you're just stuck in this negative feedback loop. Everything just feels like there's a potential worst case scenario or there's danger close by. But here's the thing, as an anxiety sufferer, your brain is falsely on high alert. The constant anxiety causes false stories. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you have these scary thoughts come up and you're imagining these scary thoughts happening, you are actually believing and living as if these things are happening. And that's why your nervous system is on constant high alert, because your brain believes what you tell it. And so then it's sending alert to your body of like, we're in danger, when you're not actually in danger. It was just there might have been something that triggered you at a point in your life that made you feel like you were in danger. And so now you live as if it's happening over and over again in your daily life. So going back to me, I spent many years since I probably had gotten sick when I was about 11, and I just getting worse and worse. My anxiety kept getting worse, my symptoms kept getting worse, and it got to the point where I was like, I'll just try anything. And then I looked into neuroplasticity and neural retraining. Again, I talk way more about neuroplasticity and healing the brain and body in my book, but one of the practice I have done to help me to go from bedbound to being able to go to the stores and stuff and go out in public
is I do brain retraining. So with anxiety, your brain and body is trained to be on high alert. You may notice your body feels anxious without even thinking anything. That is because your nervous system is dysregulated and believes the world is dangerous, even with things that aren't objectively dangerous. With brain retraining, you are putting yourself in the same situations, but training your brain to believe you are safe, so it no longer responds as if you're in danger.
Our brains are so malleable. We can change our brains based on our beliefs and our actions. So earlier I had mentioned about how when you are a trauma or an anxiety sufferer, your instinctual part of your brain is more enhanced and your cognitive part of your brain is more shrunk. Those things can change through neuroplasticity, and there are studies that prove this. You can change the way your body functions through the power of your mind. And I'm gonna prove this. Okay. I'm gonna talk more about a neuroplasticity practice that I do, but I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine something that you've always dreamed of. It could be realistic, it could be not, it doesn't matter. You can imagine your wedding day, you can imagine having a family, you can imagine going to the moon, just imagine like a rock star, whatever it is, imagine this, like, and put a lot of detail in it. Use your senses, be in that moment, okay? How happy do you feel right now? You probably feel really good. It feels good to imagine this. You're doing this all with the power of your mind. You are imagining you're this thing and it's causing a reaction in your body to make you feel feelings about this thing, even though logically you know it's not real. Emotionally, and your brain is believing that it's real. You can do this with other things, and I'm gonna get into it. So again, this is all in my book, but one thing I did was, in order to retrain my brain, I would do a type of meditation. What I would do is I would take deep breaths, and then I would imagine a light. And this light is like my higher self. It has everything that I need. It has safety, it has healing, it has strength, bravery, whatever I needed, I imagined was in this light. And then I had it go through my entire body. I imagined I embodied this thing, okay? I am this thing now. And then I would imagine scenarios that terrified me or really tough for me. And I would imagine myself as the thing that I'd like, that being that I imagined I am, and I imagine myself going through the scenarios, and if any type of scary situation come up, I imagine myself dealing with it with the skills that I have. And you do this every day consistently. And then I would go into those situations and I would use the tools that are in my book, and I'd be very calm, and I'd go into those situations and saying certain things to myself to keep myself in that higher self-like state, and go through those situations. And I do it over and over and over again to the point where it no longer triggered my body to feel unsafe. Because again, like I had mentioned, at some point you were triggered to feel unsafe, and in order to create safety, you have to form a belief that you are actually safe. Anxiety forms beliefs that you're not safe. But when you start to show action and change your belief that you are safe and the thing you're doing is safe because of the false belief that you're not safe, you then will no longer be triggered by this thing anymore. And again, not to be annoying, but I talk much deeper about this in my book. This is only the surface of brain retraining. There's a lot more to it. And I will say, I'm not 100% where I'd like to be, but I'm much better off where I am no longer bedbound. And I've got myself out of these situations all with the power of my mind. I did not do anything extra. And I will say, like, if you need to take medication, do not obviously get off your medication. Use your medication, listen to your doctors. Over time though, you may feel like you're not as dependent on it. You may no longer need it. Some people, they're okay with being on medication. No shame. You do whatever you need to do for your mental health. But there's some of us where we just don't want to be on medication and we want to do things a different way. So again, I have been given trials in life that I've learned so much from, and I just want to help others. So I'd really recommend you go check out my book. It's really inexpensive. It's only $5, and you can get it on Etsy or you can get it on Patreon. And I really truly believe this will help you. It just, you have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, then you know it's going to be difficult, but you just have to put the work in, and once you put that work in, you will have a completely different life, I promise you. So what do you guys think? Leave it on in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys.
You gotta wash your hands. Did you have fun? Did you see the half moon?
You thought the half moon hopped up there?